And we are back again for the third time. It's your friendly neighborhood film watchers. It's Frankly Football. I am your humble host, Brandon, and I got my man, Hunter Graham, with me. Set it off, Chris. So, how you feeling, Chris? We are talking about position battles as we prepare to go into camp. And this time we are talking about tight ends. Tight end is it's a position that has gotten really bare really quick, right? Blake Jarwin is no longer on this team, right?
Okay.
So behind Dalton Schultz, who is on a franchise tag, and apparently they aren't very close on a deal, on a long-term contract extension. So behind him, there's a lot of question marks. How do you feel about the battle going into this 2022 training camp?
Well, I don't think it's much of a battle. Okay. First and foremost, I don't think it's a battle. Okay. So I think what ended up happening more than anything, we talked about it. Skywalker still talked about his show a lot. Nobody wanted to pay big money for a tight end on this football team. We like our tight end. We didn't love our tight end. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So because we were looking at some guys who I thought could have been an upgrade. I thought OJ Howard would have been a great addition to this football team.
I think so.
Right. I thought he could have been a great addition. They didn't want to deal with that. And as always, you have to look at the penny pinching antics of Stephen Jones. Okay. And Stephen said, I'm going to franchise tag you, Dalton Schultz, because at franchise tag, I'm paying you $12 million. He had an inkling, he had a clue, he had a feeling that other guys were going to get paid. David Njoku came with a big deal. Other tight ends in the league got big deals. So by franchise tagging Dalton Schultz, he got him under market value, which for Steven is how he gets down. Okay? So when Dalton Schultz was walking there like, well, my numbers were as good as Kittle's. My numbers were as good as Kelsey's. Hey, guess what? This is the franchise tag, and this is what we're going to pay you. So I don't think there's a battle for one, because we never got that potential that Blake Jarwin always gave us that inkling of. He's like Luther Vandross's curl back in the day, bro. It just never quite got there. You would see images and glimpses of Jarwin scoring 2 or 3 touchdowns against the Giants, things of that nature, and you'd be like, oh, here it comes, Kelsey 2.0, and it never just got there. So I think Dalton has got locked in with tight end 1. But this offense runs better in a 2 tight end set. If you look at the beginning of the season, the first 7 games, this last year when we were on fire, when we were dang near unstoppable, when we were buying tickets for Super Bowls, we were better when we were in the 2 tight end set. So the problem is your second tight end, how good is he and how does he develop? And that's why I think the battles is. The battles is between Sean McEwen and Jeremy Sprinkles. Can Jeremy Sprinkles put a little more tight end, a bit more catching ability? Because I think Sean McEwen is going to take the next step. I think Sean McEwen is going to fight for that second tight end position and stand on it and be a great addition inside of this football team. I'm looking at my tight end 1 is Blake Jarwin. Not Blake. Yeah, it's not Blake Jarwin. Excuse me. Dalton Schultz. Yeah, Sean McEwen, Jeremy Sprinkle, and then Ferguson, who we drafted, having a year to develop and learn the NFL. Tell me how you feel about that, boss.
So you don't think that Jake Ferguson could supplant the tight end 2 role from Sprinkle or McEwen? Not
at all. I like Sean McEwen last year. I thought Sean McEwen should have got more burn last year coming out of camp and what he did in the preseason game. I think Sean McEwen comes in this year hungrier, bigger, stronger. He can already block. He comes out of the Big Ten playing out of Michigan. I think he'll be an adequate blocker. Dalton's got to step his blocking up. But I think in the 12 personnel, which is going to be huge for this team for the first 8 weeks of the season, with the usage rates of other players who we're going to talk about, 2 tight end set is going to be great. And I think that's what you're going to see a lot of.
So here's what I think.
Okay.
When you're looking for guys to catch the ball, we know that Jake Ferguson has really sure hands, right, as a rookie.
Okay.
Just as far as recency of me watching his film, he has incredibly sure hands. He's also a big dude, slightly larger than Dalton Schultz, not in height, but in bulk. He's a bit sturdier and stockier than Schultz.
Okay.
Even though the weight, the number may say the same, their frame is a little different, So if you're looking for one of those new age, more of a receiver of a tight end, Ferguson will give you some of those hands. He'll give you catching ability. Now, I have to see more of him, whether I can say whether he can supplant either one of those veterans, whether it's McEwen or Sprinkle. Sprinkle right now was the most veteran of any of the tight ends in this room. He has Schultz by a year. Okay. Whether it was in Washington, I think Washington was the only place where he played. He never really got off of the ground. So I can't say that the distance between him as tight end 2 and anyone else is really that great, because he never really had too much production to distance himself from anyone else,
Okay, right.
Same goes for Sean McEwen. He hasn't had any production yet, and this will be his 3rd season. So Jake Ferguson has just as much of a chance as either one of those guys,
I feel you what you said, because you drafted him. So because you drafted him, you feel like he should have an opportunity to do that. But I think McEwen has the one thing we've always talked about people having a chance to take the next step. The next step comes over those off seasons. And Sean McEwen's had 2 of those compared to Jake Ferguson walking in just off, after getting drafted. So because there's not a rush to make him tight end 2 or tight end 3, I think this will be a great season for him to learn the nuances and develop his different skills and crafts. He comes from Wisconsin. He's gonna know how to block. He's got sure hands.
Yes.
I think your 1-2 punch is with Dalton Schultz doing his thing, Sean McEwen being the second guy, and your third guy. I mean, the crazy part about it, you're maybe going to carry 3, maybe 4 tight ends on this football team, because you can't put Ferguson out in the street because somebody will take him out the practice squad.
Yes, I 100% agree.
But because this is a bruising type game, and if somebody goes down, God forbid, you got him there, and you can bring him, and he can play that third tight end. But I don't think right now, going into camp, it's going to be a battle. Yes. But I think the battle is not for the third or fourth tight end position. I think it's for the second tight end position.
Yes.
And I think Sean McEwen has got a pretty good grip on it if he has the same camp, or if not better, from last year.
Now, thankfully, we only have 5 tight ends on this roster.
Okay.
Ian Bunting, it seems like he's the odd man out. We haven't said his name at all. So It seems like the 4 guys who have been in this conversation, we're really worried about shuffling their names, in a different order. So, there's a lot to be thankful for there. I also think that you can't even take the chance of trying to put Jake Ferguson on the practice squad. A, I believe that he's too talented for that. And B, another team will snatch him up very quickly. So I think that Jake Ferguson would come in day 1, and he would get, if you remember when we talked about O-line, how I said that certain players would get penalized less if they make mistakes. So I think that if Jake Ferguson and Jeremy Sprinkle make the same mistake, the team would look down on Jeremy Sprinkle a little bit more than if he made the mistake that Jake Ferguson made. A, because he is a 6-year vet. And B, they drafted Jake Ferguson. I think that if Ferguson comes in and he performs even at a similar level to McEwen or Sprinkle, the number 2 job is his.
Okay. I mean, I don't think the number 2. I don't think he can jump. I don't think he can jump McEwen. I think we're really casting aspersions on Sean McEwen. I think Sean McEwen is your guy that's gonna not just keep Jake Ferguson as the 4th tight end. Sean McEwen gonna be the reason why Dalton Schultz don't get paid.
Oh wow, this is interesting.
I don't think that.
Explain to me.
Because the window or the ability isn't that far off. Dalton Schultz is not a good blocker. He's never gotten better at blocking.
Which is weird. It's weird. He was brought in as a blocking tight end. His blocking skill actually got worse as he progressed as a pass catcher.
Right. So
it's weird, right?
So he turned, and when he came in, he never turned out to be that blocking type tight end that you wanted. I think Sean McEwen came into the system as a blocking guy who could catch. Okay. I think McEwen and Ferguson are the same guys. The thing about it is that McEwen has had a couple years to get acclimated to the system. This will be his 3rd year.
Yes.
So I think the Cowboys are not going to pay Dalton Schultz this big money. They're going to turn around. Sean McEwen's going to get reps at the tight end too. You know what I'm saying? Prove as a blocker. Get sprinkled, be tossed in a little bit here. And I believe that Sean McEwen is going to be your number 1 tight end, not in 2022, but 2023, with the backup being Jake Ferguson, working as a blocker, see what I'm saying? I don't think they're going to pay anybody. I think they're going to get to a guy who's productive, get him a second contract, maybe 2 more years on it with an extension, and go from there. The days of them paying a tight end past his prime and has hair one year, then the next year he don't have hair, and he's a daggone progress block stopper from other guys. And people keep fighting me on the internet and Twitter talking about he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I'm always gonna say he never was, but he'll get in the Hall of Fame kind of guy. Them guys, the Cowboys have a certain kind of mold for their tight ends.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the swivel hip. If you already tried it with the swivel hip guy and he kept getting hurt, Blake Jarwin was your swivel hip, move around, explosive, Travis Kelce wannabe type tight end. They're not going to have that. They're going to go back to the mold that they trust and they know, and it's fine, because I don't think that's going to be your most explosive guy on your offense this year. I think it's another guy, and we're going to talk about him in a few, man. But so if you got it, line it up right now. Give me your tight end room. Give it to me.
Well, I think we already discussed it. Dalton Schultz is going to be your tight end 1. I think that Jake Ferguson has the potential to come in and be your tight end 2. And then Sprinkle and McEwen are going to come in and, just be, your other guys.
Okay.
Sorry for Ian Bunting, but, that's just the way that goes.
I got you. I got it looking totally different. I got Dalton Schultz coming in, having a super duper productive year, 80 catches, 800. He had 80 catches last year.
Yeah.
He had 80 catches last year.
And those Amari Cooper looks like
somebody got to get him.
Somebody got to get him.
That's 80 targets. Somebody got 100 targets. Somebody got to get. So Dalton gets his 80 catches. Dalton busts the 1,000-yard mark this year. All right, he gets his touchdowns, and he's a great compensatory pick for Dallas in 2023, 2024. Okay,
I'm with it.
That's what happens.
I like it.
I like my second guy is going to be Sean McEwen, showing his versatility, being a blocker, being a threat in that 12 personnel package, and being a guy that when we have to give Dalton a breather or a break, he can step right in and do his thing. I think Sprinkles is in a fist fight with the young Jake Ferguson for that tight end 3 spot. I think he's in the fist fight for the tight end 3 spot. I think starting in the league first couple of weeks into the season, I think Sprinkle will have an opportunity. But I think by week 8, week 10, we'll start seeing less of Jeremy Sprinkle, more Jake Ferguson, and liking what he's doing in the run game and things of that nature. So that's where I see that happening and panning out. So, man, that's why I'm looking at my tight ends. But the next video, man, is going to explain why I feel about this way about all the different positions we've talked about, how important the offensive line is for them to have its kind of cohesiveness and growing, how I feel the wide receivers are going to be able to benefit from the fact of the matter that even though Michael Gallup's going to be gone, to me, until week 8, week 10, and being back effective.
That's a long time.
And then he hurt himself in January.
That's fair. It's fair.
It's a 9 to 10 month injury. Only guy who's shown you any different, and I understand the guy for the Rams. He came back after tearing his Achilles. He came back, and Wolverine did it for Minnesota because he got adamantium in his system, and he came back the next year and rushed for 2,000 yards like Adrian Peterson. I think everybody else, it takes about a year to get back. So expecting him to be back by week 4, I don't think that's possible. I think he comes back by week 8 and he makes a big difference. But the guy we're going to talk about in this next video is going to set all those things off as a pun, as I'm saying. So that's what we think, man. That's what we think. But that's me. That's Brandon, because we frankly football. So if you spent this much time with us, you know what you got to do? You got to hit that like button, man. If you spent this much time with us, man, go ahead and subscribe so your notification bell will go off, man. And you'll be like, oh, shoot, these jokers done put out another video when they take a hiatus for 2 to 3 weeks because they run around their life. And make sure you put a comment in, man. Make sure you interact with us because we love to hear what you got to say, man. Listen, man, we are frankly football, man. I'm Set It Off Chris. This is my main man, BH, man. And until next time.
Peace.